Just ahead on CTV News, Maryland Democrats rally behind Vice President Harris in her race to the White House.
An Olympic gold medalist receives a big honor today in Montgomery County. I'm Katara Jones in Silver Spring. I have all the details on who she is coming up on CTV News.
Plus, we sit down with one of the special election candidates. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, it's July 23rd. You're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Noon. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris secures the support of enough Democratic delegates to become the presumptive nominee for president as top Democrats rally behind her in the aftermath of President Joe Biden's decision to drop his bid for re-election. Now, yesterday, the Maryland delegation to the Democratic National Convention voted to unanimously endorse Harris. Maryland Democratic Party Chair Ken Ullman says that it was an easy decision to back Harris for president.
All of us who were delegates to the convention, we were delegates to go to Chicago to support Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And so for those of us to make the transition to support Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket is frankly an easy transition. And I think Democrats around the country and independents and Republicans who do not want to support Donald Trump, I think have been waiting for a moment for the conversation to change, when we could really talk about the difference between the Democratic vision, the Republican vision, Donald Trump's vision, and our vision. And our nominee, Kamala Harris, is going to be in a great position to do that, whether it's on gun safety, on the environment and taking on the climate crisis, whether it's on abortion.
And Ullman, who also sits on the DNC Rules Committee, says that the party is still planning to vote for the nominee virtually in the coming weeks to ensure that they appear on the ballot in November. President Biden will deliver an Oval Office address tomorrow evening on his decision to drop out. And Harris is also smashing fundraising records as the Democratic Party's donors, big and small, open their wallets for the vice president in the immediate aftermath of President Joe Biden's stunning decision to step aside. In total, Harris's team raised more than $81 million in the 24-hour period since Biden's announcement. The massive haul represents the largest 24-hour sum reported by either side in the 2024 campaign. Harris's campaign said it was the largest single-day total in U.S. history. And the director of the U.S. Secret Service has stepped down. Kimberly Cheadle's resignation comes a day after lawmakers on the Hill grilled her over security failures during the July 13th assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Now, lawmakers from both parties had been calling on her to step down, but in a statement to her staff, Cheadle said that she takes full responsibility for the security lapse. And the shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Crooks, was able to get 157 yards of the stage where the former president was speaking. The White House released a statement saying Cheadle has selflessly dedicated and risked her life to protect the nation and thanked her for decades of public service. And a Prince George's County school board member has resigned after revelations surfaced. He was working in Missouri for months. David Murray, who resigned last week after a complaint was filed with the Maryland Board of Education, had been working as a chief academic officer with the Ferguson-Florissant School District since January. And according to WTOP, Murray's attendance at Prince George's board meetings had been spotty and virtual, if at all. Now, Murray says he's a homeowner and taxpayer in District 1 and says his secondary residence is out of state. Now, with his resignation, Murray may not face any punishment for violating any state laws about representing an area he doesn't reside in. And the Maryland Board of Education has named its leadership for the 2024-2025 school year, and one of them is from Prince George's County. The board voted unanimously to elect Dr. Joshua Michael as president and Dr. Monica Goldson as vice president. Michael, who lives in Baltimore City, was appointed to the board by Governor Wes Moore in April of 2023. Goldson, however, is the retired CEO of Prince George's County Public Schools. She was named to the board by Governor Moore in June of last year. And so to come on CTV News, a new tool aims to help Marylanders understand the state's overdose crisis. Stick around, we'll have more on that story when we come back.
You gotta believe without seeing. You gotta keep going, keep breathing. When you face a day that feels like you're gonna break, you gotta believe without seeing. You gotta keep going, keep breathing. You face a day that feels like you're gonna break. So lean on the ones that love you, the guardian angels above you, and think about when peace just another color. Ooh, just another color. Just another color.
Welcome back. A Capitol Heights man is being sentenced to 53 months in federal prison for wire fraud and illegal possession of a firearm. According to the Maryland U.S. Attorney's Office, from March of 2020 to October 2021, 28-year-old Stefan Watson and his co-conspirators impersonated victims to submit fraudulent claims for pandemic-related IU benefits in Maryland and in California. A U.S. district judge also ordered Watson to forfeit over $90,000 and to pay restitution of over $2 million. And an Upper Marlboro woman has been indicted by a grand jury for alleged insurance fraud and theft of property. Her name is Rhonda Powell, but she also goes by Rhonda Jackson. According to the Attorney General's office, Powell lied when she told her insurance company that a pipe in her home burst, causing flooding and damage to furniture, electronic devices, clothing, jewelry, and more. Powell allegedly filed 2 claims totaling more than $182,000, and investigators say Powell never reported any problems to her landlord and that photos of the damage were not taken in her home. Her initial appearance in court is set for Friday. And the Luminous Health Doctors Committee Community Medical Center in Lanham is being recognized as a high-performing hospital by U.S. News and World Report. Now, the center, which has been a cornerstone in the county for nearly 50 years, achieved this prestigious distinction for excellence in 4 critical procedures and conditions: COPD, heart failure, pneumonia, and stroke. Now, the rankings are designed to assist patients and their doctors in making informed decisions about where to receive quality care. Hospital President Deneen Richardson accredits this achievement to the teamwork.
So it's so important that we work well together as a team, that we follow the most current clinical protocols, that we give our teams the right technology and resources to be able to take care of the community that we're privileged to serve, and that we do what we need to do to not just treat those that are coming through our doors, but we actually focus a lot on, in our community efforts, on how we can prevent these chronic diseases and illnesses. So it's really taking our team, that our physicians, our nurses, our technicians that are already well trained, and really making sure that we are honing in on how we work as a team, and that we continue to elevate our standards of care.
And U.S. News evaluated nearly 5,000 hospitals across 15 specialties. And listen to this, a new tool is helping Marylanders understand the state overdose crisis. Today, the Department of Health launched the Maryland Overdose Data Dashboard, which provides visualization of overdose trends across the state. And the data includes fatal and non-fatal overdoses by zip code, historical trend analysis, and insights across age, race, and gender. The data will also be released 30 days after the department receives it, much shorter than the previous 90-day period. But for more information, visit the Department of Health's website and search for interactive dashboards. And calling all young adult residents, Employ Prince George's is teaming up with Road Trip Nation to create a documentary series about the county. It will be a 2-episode series that explores the different career pathways here in the county and D.C. region. Now, participants will take trips around the county and interview professionals about their careers. Filming will begin in November, and participants must be between the ages of 18 and 24, and applications to be a part of the series close on Sunday, July 28th. And tonight, a group of local entrepreneurs, artists, and community members will be hosting a panel for teens at the Seat Pleasant Activity Center. Now, Stamar Mitchell, known by his social media name APAP, is hosting his second annual panel called Rap Sessions. And we got a chance to actually catch up with some of the panelists ahead of the upcoming event.
Yes, I'm all about turning your passion into profit. And I feel like when you touch the youth, you always got to help them to see ways that they can utilize the things they love to get the things they need.
My goal is just to engage with the youth and figure out what we can do to best support them. I feel like there's a lot of programs for the youth, but a lot of them are for younger kids, and there's not enough things that are going on for teenagers.
When I was in school, I didn't have a guidance counselor to rely on. I didn't really have many friends, and I am now in a position where I want to be the person that I wish I had back then. Pap is someone that I'm cool with, someone that I knew back in the start of my career when I was doing media, and so for him to put on something this major is huge, and I would love to be a part of that to give back.
I'm just hoping that we can connect with them and just figure out what we can do to help improve their lives.
And the panel will run from 7:30 to 9 p.m. at the Seat Pleasant Activity Center. And still to come on CTV News, I'm sitting down with at-large candidate Leo Iyambo. Stay tuned.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
¿Qué color? Perfecto, mijo.
Gracias. Thank you.
What's wrong, mijo?
Donating to a pet's medical care is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
You quit smoking and thought, that's that. But here's the thing about lung cancer. By the time you see the symptoms, it could be too late. But now, there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early when it's more curable. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. The special election for the county's council's at-large seat is exactly 2 weeks away. And in the coming weeks, CTV will introduce you to each of those candidates. But joining us in the studio today is candidate Leo Iyambo. Mr. Iyambo, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ms. Newton.
All right. Well, you unsuccessfully ran for county council in 2022. Sir, why are you now running for the at-large seat?
I'm running for the at-large seat because I think our county urgently needs change. I think electing the same people repeatedly has resulted to a lot of ethical issues. And it's time for a new direction in the county. As a graduate of Prince George's County Public School, specifically Suitland High School class of 1990, I attribute most of my academic success with an Ivy League education from the foundations rooted from what I got from PG County schools. And with a doctorate from Columbia, a doctorate from Lyceum Northwestern, an MBA from Morgan State, an MS from Howard, an MA from Columbia, an MS from Columbia, I think I can really contribute to the county.
Okay.
And I think this is the time to do it.
And you are from Prince George's County. So what are some of those changes that you would like to see in the county? What are your top priorities?
You might think this might not be a priority, but one of my top priorities is actually making sure that residents of PG County actually pay rent on the 10th of the month. We paid on the 5th. Why do we do that? In Montgomery County, they are way richer than us. They're richer than 16 states. They pay rent on the 10th. So why should we stress our citizens an extra 5 days, clog the court system with litigations for the possession of property, when we should give people 5 more days to pay their rent? And that's not an issue that the county council think is pressing. Why? Because most of them have mortgages. So they don't think it's an issue. Second issue is PG County Schools. I mentioned earlier on that I'm a graduate, a proud graduate of PG County Schools. But the curriculum is obsolete. You know, we are using analog curriculum when actually we should be using AI. And there's a big disconnect there. And every time they get a new superintendent, I just sit and laugh because it's doing the same thing over and over. For us to compete and have a society where our students can really compete in the real world, I think we should revamp the curriculum. And taking it from a guy that wrote the first book on minority education, virtual learning, and technology, I think I can contribute to that.
And let's go a little bit back to rent and issues of housing in the county. What are your thoughts on affordable housing?
I think we need more affordable housing. I think the county needs to, I know they talk about a rent bill. I think it's all a charade because there should be more restrictions on that. And if they really want to make true changes, some of those really small changes like allowing residents to pay 5 extra days of rent will be monumental. And what happens is that accumulatively over time, that is 5% penalty fees on punitive fees on citizens that can really afford to have a savings account. So those 5% penalties that go to the landlords that really don't need the 5%, and I'm a commercial landlord, so they don't probably need it. So they should save it. The residents should save that 5% and have that money at the end of the year. So you will be happy with paying rent 5 days later if I'm elected.
Yeah, and you have a lot of years of experience in health and social services. So what are your top priorities or priorities for public health?
I do believe that in our school system, coming back to the schools, we need to make sure that we involve our parents. Parental involvement is a lot important for us to maintain public safety. I know in some forums people always say, well, the kids, they run around, they're not serious. But one thing you have to know is that whenever a parent is involved, there are less issues with the kids. And then the society is a whole lot safer. So we need to be able to hire more police officers, but not put them in the schools. I believe in a school-free police environment. So we should also provide a lot of mental support in the police department and in the schools.
And in a past interview, you actually said that you're sick of traffic camera. Can you kind of break that down for me?
Yes, I think traffic cameras have turned out to be a punitive tool for the poor. Everywhere you go, every jurisdiction you go, they have excessive traffic cameras. And coming from a scientific point of view, I do believe that those cameras should not be a way to punish the poor, but it should be a way to actually get results out of basic research and results to put those cameras in locations where you can actually save lives.
And going back to the education, you said that you don't think that school resource officers are needed. Tell me more about that. Why do you think that school resource officers should not be in schools?
As a school research police officers.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you can have people that are there. I went to certain high school. We did have security guards or resource officers, like you call them, but they were not in there with guns. I think we send the wrong message when we send kids to school and then we bring police officers with guns. And I'm saying this from experience of a black man in America and my interaction with the police officers on the streets. So we need to be able to at least make an environment that is education friendly and not, trying to bring fear into the schools. So that's my point.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yambo, so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thornton.
All right. Well, make sure you tune in as we introduce another candidate, Angela Angel. And when we come back, a local gymnast is honored for her Olympic achievements, and Simon Buggs has our Tuesday sports page. He's talking about Commanders football.
Hey everyone, and coming up on your Tuesday sports page, some Washington Commanders players, both past and present, get recognized for their great careers. I'll have more details soon. Stay right there.
When I found out my son was using marijuana, I thought it was just part of adolescence.
Lots of teens and young people get high.
But then I found out how powerful today's concentrates are.
I couldn't believe it.
It's far more powerful than weed from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
When teens use vapes or dabs, the potency can be 80 to 100% THC.
THC can cause addiction, hallucinations, paranoia, anxiety, and cannabis-induced psychosis in youth.
For teens and young adults, marijuana use comes with increased risks
of suicidal thoughts, planning, and attempts.
And these high THC products can be bought almost anywhere.
From gas stations to dispensaries, I had no idea.
Talk to your children well before they experiment with today's potent THC products.
Get educated.
Help them understand the dangers are real.
Just say no. KNOW. Go to justsayno.org today for the facts.
He's often referred to as a trailblazer for women of color in the world of U.S. gymnastics. Today, Montgomery County unveiled a sculpture of decorated Olympian and small business owner Dominique Dawes. CTV's Katara Jones was at the ceremony where her fans, young and old, came out to celebrate the woman affectionately nicknamed Awesome Dawson.
That's right. Well, I want you guys at home to take a look at this iconic image of this beautiful bronze sculpture. Now, this incredible piece of art is of Olympic medalist and Silver Spring native Dominique Dawes. Now, Dawes competed in 3 Olympic Games. Her first was in Barcelona in 1992. The second was in Atlanta in 1996. And her third was in Sydney in 2000. Now, this sculpture was created based on an iconic image of Dawes during the 1996 Olympic Games. And as a gymnast, she won 4 Olympic medals, including a team's gold medal in the 1996 Olympics. And today, this sculpture was unveiled in her honor.
I think the timing couldn't be more perfect. Today is the 20th anniversary of the Mag 7, the Magnificent 7, the first ever women's gymnastics team that I was a part of to win an Olympic gold medal in Atlanta, Georgia. And for a sculpture to be unveiled of me is truly a highlight. Just knowing that it's going to inspire and empower the next generation of young girls and boys and young people of color to realize their fullest potential definitely warms my heart.
Well, the most important part of a sculpture like this is picking a pose. So I looked at all the photos from the Atlanta Olympics, and there was that one iconic piece of her on the balance beam, which she was brilliant at, and I said that has that poetry and motion kind of look to it. It's strength and beauty at the same time. And that's a hard thing to get in stillness. I always make a sculpture larger than the person because it's in fact, you're sculpting a moment in time which is way bigger than the individual. And her impact on sports and on women of color is profound.
I feel as if I played a small role in helping with the diversification in the sport, with Gabby Douglas paving the way, and now Simone Biles dominating in the sport, and Suni Lee being an Olympic champion at the last Olympic Games. It's going to be wonderful to cheer them on, and Simone's going to be competing in her 3rd Olympic Games, and I'm the last female gymnast to do that for the United States, so I will be cheering for her every step of the way. I remember getting fan mail letters, like when people would sit down and write with a pen and paper. Fan mail letters when I was 11 years old at 129 Ritchie Avenue, and I remember being elated that little old me could inspire someone to dream big, and to know that that's continuing now at 47 years old really does humble me, but I know that it's definitely from up above.
Dawes now develops the next generation of Maryland gymnasts through the Dominique Dawes Gymnastics and Ninja Academy. She now owns and operates 2 gyms right here in Montgomery County. Katara Jones, CTV News.
All right, Katara, thanks so much. And during her time on the U.S. Women's Olympic Gymnastic team, she also won the team bronze medal in 1992 and in 2000. She also earned an individual bronze medal in 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta.
Okay, everybody, are you ready? Because it's time for your Tuesday sports page. Beginning with some NFL news, although the Washington Commanders haven't had a lot of success on the field the last couple of years, there's no doubt there is talent on the roster. And one player and wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, has been the model of consistency since Washington took him in the 3rd round of the 2019 draft. And that was recognized as the Ohio State product was ranked number 97 on the NFL's top 100 players list. Despite the quarterback carousel the Commanders have had since he's been in the league, McLaurin has still managed to put up 1,000-yard seasons. And McLaurin made history this past season as he hit the 1,000-yard mark for the 4th consecutive season, making him just the first receiver in franchise history to do so. The one-time Pro Bowler also led the team in yards for the 4th season in a row and tied the team lead in receiving touchdowns. He also had 15 plays of at least 20 yards and almost 50 catches that resulted in first downs. Switching gears to more Commanders news, the wait is over, Commanders fans. The date for Commanders legend Darryl Green's jersey retirement has finally been revealed. The team will honor the Hall of Famer's career on October 20th when the Carolina Panthers come to town. Green, who wore the number 28, played in the NFL for 20 seasons, all with Washington. And along the way, he made 7 Pro Bowls, was a first-team All-Pro, a 2-time second-team All-Pro, and helped lead the franchise to 2 Super Bowl victories. Green is just the 5th player in the franchise's history to have his jersey retired. Sticking with NFL news, tragedy struck recently as Minnesota Vikings rookie Kyrie Jackson was killed in a car crash. And the Vikings have recently announced on how they plan to honor the 24-year-old's life. It's been reported that the Vikings have donated more than $20,000 towards expenses for the Upper Marlboro native's funeral, which will be held on Friday. The team will also fly Jackson's family to Minnesota and hold a private ceremony with Vikings players and coaches. The franchise also announced that Jackson's jersey, number 31, and his locker will not be used this season. And players will wear helmet decals with Kyrie's initials on them, and coaches will wear pins with the same design. And now to the world of college football, the Terps football team continues to load up on the local talent, as Maryland native and running back Zamir Smith has committed to playing in College Park. Smith, who plays for North Carolina High School, is ranked as the number 10 player in the country and the number 7 player in Maryland. For the Bulldogs, Smith had 71 carries for 609 yards and 7 touchdowns and earned All-State honors. The rising senior also caught 9 passes for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns. And wrapping up sports, the Baltimore Orioles will be in action tonight as they take on the Miami Marlins at 6:40. And that wraps up your Tuesday sports page. Simon Bugs, CTV Sports.
All right, Simon, thanks so much. Well, before we go, let's take a look at our community calendar. Tonight, the city of Laurel is hosting a Touch-a-Truck. Children of all ages are encouraged to come see some of the city's vehicles. And this event takes place at Emancipation Park starting at 6:30. But for more information, you can contact that number right there on your screen. And that's all the time we have. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.